Hello everybody and welcome to my review for Lobotomy Corporation. A lot of you guys have asked me to review some of my favorite games and I was not able to pass on this piece of gaming masochism. It is one of the best monster management games that I've ever played, but it's sadly also the hardest management simulation that I've played as well. So let's get into this. I'm going to give you a quick briefing about what we're playing here, and then I'm going to talk about the good, the bad, and why I think that this is still one of the greatest games in its own department. So, first of all, what is Lobotomy Corp? So you're playing a overseer of the local energy facility. We make energy out of monsters. We have our monsters in our boxes. We send our employees to these monsters to interact with them and create energy. That energy gets transformed into a currency that we also can use to buy knowledge about the monsters, buy equipment for our employees, and all manner of different things. The bottom line is our job is to fill the energy meter for each day and to let all of our employees survive. That's the big problem point there, because these monsters, they really are hard to handle. There's all manner of different things that can happen. Every monster has its own bio and its own file, and I just want to let you know that when you start out, nothing of this is visible. You need to grind the currency to know what it's all about. So that's pretty much the gameplay loop in a nutshell. This game is a management simulator, but it also has a bit of real-time strategy combat in itself, because our employees, we not only send them to study the monsters, they can also go out and fight monsters. Because sometimes monsters just break out, sometimes monsters invade our base. This meter here for is what depicts that. So every 5 interactions with the monsters inside of our little energy factory, we get a little invasion of critters that we need to fight back as well. So that's that. To top it all off, the game features roguelite meta progression, because when I fail my whole run, I get to keep all the knowledge of the monsters, and I also get to keep the equipment that I bought, because it happens to be the case that of the currency that we grind from the monsters, we also can buy kick-ass items for our employees. And this way, you can slowly work yourself towards the top of the food chain. Your goal is to survive 50 days. The game grows harder and harder on you. It also offers you a really well-written visual novel story that explains everything that's happening around you, asks constantly questions, and it even gets down to why everybody's looking like that. I don't want to spoil the answer, but it was quite shocking to me. So, that is pretty much what it's all about. We have a system behind it that lets us hire our employees, that lets us equip them, and pretty much configure what we get to do. There's also a quest system for our departments. There's a lot of things that you can unlock in the background. So what I want to say at the end of this whole overview segment, this game has been made in South Korea, and that is where its difficulty level is at. I'm going to talk about that a little bit later. First off, I want to talk about all the good things that this game has in store. First off, it is atmospheric. It is as close as an SCP management simulator can ever go for me personally, as it not only has a lot of freaky monsters, you have a lot of lore behind everyone. So you unlock these lore bits, by the way, while you unlock the stats of the monsters. So there's a lot to dig in. And the story itself, the visual novel pieces that you get between the days that you survive, is amazing. It is a story that, for me, as a fantasy nerd, well, I haven't beaten this game yet, but I want to, and I don't want to watch any video taking anything ahead of myself, because, you know, it's a thrilling story that really captivates you, and it is really, really cool. That's one of the things that really gets me to retry and bust myself at this game again and again, because, well, that's not the only thing. The next thing is that this game has a lot of really, really innovative gameplay ideas. Not only has every monster a different set of things it does. For example, this old lady here, if you interact with any other creature, she'll accumulate loneliness. You get this explained all here. And whenever somebody gets into her confinement cell afterwards, that loneliness will cling to him and deal damage to him, and then he'll maybe die. So that's only one thing. There's so many innovative gameplay mechanics. There's one creature that if you click it, you instantly crash the game. I'm not shitting you here. That's exactly what it does. It says, "Don't touch me." You have to take that literally. There's another monster that totally rips you apart if you happen to have it on screen on the wrong moments, and there's a lot of different behaviors of these creatures, and that is, I must say, until the very day, this is one of the most innovative gameplay things that I've ever seen. Here we only see the surface. These are only really slow, low-level creatures. I don't want to spoiler anything too exciting here in the review, but it really gets messed up, fascinating, and exciting, and discovering a new creature is its own little adventure, as you must understand you now don't know anything about this. You need to find out which kind of work, divided in 4 segments, is going to work on it. As you see here, this one is good with the purple work and the white work. Only if your character is not too good at it, though. Here, you see another caveat. If they go too good at something, their success rates even drop. This game is nasty at that. But to find that out, well, you need to try and see what bad things might happen. And with these boxes that you earn, you can then finally unlock some knowledge. You can always rewind the day or retry the current day. So if you don't want that roguelite meta progression, you can even skip that all entirely and stick to one run and retry until you have enough knowledge about the creature beforehand so you can resolve the puzzle and survive another day. It's up to you how you want to do it, but I must say, starting anew with all the gear and the knowledge is something I can strongly recommend. So, due to the fact that you always get to select different monsters in each run, there is a ton of variables that is always different in each game. You get to select also different items that your people can interact with, and these are also very, very different. Some of them are just boosting your employees, but at what cost, you might ask yourself. Other just kill your employee and transform them into energy. There's a lot of different things to explore, and it's all messed up. Promise. So that is one thing that I really love about this game. There's so many things, and every run is different, and you can decide for yourself how you want to play it. Pretty good stuff. The translation of the game also is excellent. When I started out with the game, the translation wasn't too good, and I must say the story records were quite hard to comprehend. By now, none of this is the case, and it is such fun to read through the monstrosities in the game, and I really, really love the writing, and it is very, very exciting to get there. And what I also really like about the game is the fact that, due to its roguelite elements that you can unlock good stuff, you can really soften up the difficulty level over the course of the time, because that gear that you unlock really matters a lot. Some of these items can practically set up your squad to just win fights inherently. So that is really something that is pretty nice. So here we had no invasion, but we had the warning that we need to interact with this creature or something bad might happen. Yet another little thing. So, what's bad about this game though? So, what I really gotta say, first of all, the combat part of the game feels really dated, and I don't like it. It is hard combat to put to the worst point. Some of these abnormalities, when they escape, you need to fight them and put them back into chains, so to say. And, well, they all have very unfair combat patterns that you need to learn. It is a joyride, but to put this into perspective, we can only select these guys and then send them somewhere, and then they will fight. You need to interact with these guys by equipping them against 4 different damage types, which every item has different composition of strengths and weaknesses. Every monstrosity has a different color of damage it does, and boy, this is hard to manage. And on top of that, you really have this very, well, basic RTS management system where you just select your blob of employees and put them somewhere, or select your singular employee and put him somewhere. This is really not really growing to the challenge, up to the challenge. Your best bet is to have the proper gear for the job, and you learn that over the course of time, but it's really hard. And the other part is many parts of the gameplay are so innovative that it's really hard to get into. You know, you don't have stats that you are accustomed with. Everybody has instinct, insight, attachment, and repression skills. That alone took me a long time to understand what that does. Some of the monster mechanics are really hard to understand at first, and, well, on top of that comes the high difficulty level, and this is enough to demotivate at times. That's also the reason why I haven't beaten the game yet, as much as I love it. But, well, the thing is, everything of these difficulties is so cool that I forgive it that. That's the worst problem about it. It's making sense lore-wise, and it's a pretty cool feature, but it is really difficult to understand. And I gotta say, some parts of the game were so hard to understand that I really had to rely on outside sources, because I just didn't understand how to beat the challenge. Say hi to the keyhole monster from me at that point. I had to look up in the Wikipedia. I had no clue. So yeah, that is one thing I must say. If you just accept the fact that sometimes you have to look it up to progress, it is an awesome game. It's just sometimes, I must say, I don't know how to understand some parts of the game without looking them up. But if you don't mind banging your head against the wall until you give up and look up for the solution, or you are just a genius unlike me, knock yourself out. It is really the only downsides that I can say. Besides, one thing, if you want to go for any resolution of the game can feel quite grindy, because you don't get to skip the early days again, you know? I can't put it into words how many times I have played the first 20 days of this game. It is often, and it is something where I must say, yeah, eventually you have unlocked all the low-tier monsters, and to put this into perspective, there's 5 tiers of monsters, and so far I haven't unlocked a single one of the highest tier. I have 58% of the monster repository unlocked at this point while I'm recording this. So, yeah, grindy. But, I mean, it's an Asian game, so I'm not too surprised about that. I want to put now a summary about this game together. So, it is a very unique game. It is, in my personal humble opinion, one of the most unique management simulators that I know of, and it has a stunning writing and world building. It is amazing. Seriously, that story alone is worth playing the game. Or if it is too difficult for you, and you're unlike me, you don't mind beating things yourself, look it up as a video compilation or something, because it is really one hell of a cool urban fantasy story that I can wholeheartedly recommend. Even if I haven't seen the resolution yet, but that part aside. The game has, though, a Korean difficulty level. I can't put it into different words. It is one really nasty game, as you will have to juggle so many things at once. Here, everything is really nice and comfy. Eventually, you'll have several departments under your control, each with 3 monsters and more that you need to work with. And I told you about the old lady. Every monster has some sort of an interaction if it doesn't get worked with often enough, if it gets worked with too often, if people walk along it too, whatever. There are so many different little things that eventually you will go nuts by trying to keep all of those things alive at the same time. So the difficulty level is really high. If you like challenging games, this is your Dark Souls of management games. So, a last point that I want to put under the summary, this game is also definitely unfair. It is not meant to be fair. The monsters that you face are all way beyond human proportions, and pretty much you have to bring in the mindset that you need to use tricks to win. You won't be brute forcing your way through this game. That's not how it works. You either unlock tons of gear from advanced monsters and train your staff to use them, because, duh, you're not allowed to just use the power stick. You have to have the proper composition of stats too. So that's one way to resolve it, or you develop a understanding of how to write the damage types, have specialized squads for each job, and go down the micromanagement path deep. At the end of the day, you can always retry a day and adapt your strategies, so as unfair as the challenges are, you have all the tools in the world that you need. The only thing you will run out eventually, maybe, is your patience. But Lobotomy Corp is one hell of a game, literally. So I hope that this review was inspirational for you. I love this game, even if I haven't finished it yet a single time in my life. I still mean to. Maybe I'll be streaming it sometime next again, because I really have found some appetite for it again, and you totally get your money's worth from this game. That is all I can say. Drop me your comments, let me know what you think about it. After all, this game is already 6 years old. Leave me a thumbs up if you enjoyed the video, and consider subscribing, of course. I would be delighted to have you. There's also a lot of links in the description box below. You can find my Twitch, my Discord server, or if you like my work, feel free to support Icon Gaming financially. I can use all the help that I can get, and a deep and heartfelt thanks to all of you who do support the channel one way or another, and a deep thanks for you watching this video right here, right now. You've been through all of the entire video. I appreciate that. It really means more to me than you might think, and I hope you had a good time, and see you all another day.